Welcome, everyone. My name is Sarah Motamin. I'm the Training and Community Engagement Manager for the ACCS project. This webinar is presented to you by the Australian Characterization Commons at Scale project in partnership with Australian Academic and Research Network, or AARNet, about Globus. On behalf of the event's organizers, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners and their custodianship of the lands on which we meet. We pay our respects to their ancestors and descendants who continue cultural and spiritual connections to country. We recognize their valuable contributions to Australian and global society. ACCS is a national scale project to accelerate image processing, analysis, and publication. It deploys characterization commons for thousands of researchers who use characterization techniques, facility scientists who run instruments, and researchers using imaging collections. ACCS is co-funded by ARDC, Australian Research Data Commons, and has co-investors from 10 universities, 3 increased facilities, 2 ARC Center of Excellence, and flagship proposals, and numerous flagship instruments. This is a 5.2 million project over 2.5 years, which is going to be wrapped up in June. ACCS develops a coherent and accessible informatics landscape that promotes collaboration, increases ROI, and delivers value to researchers. The concrete aspect of what we are delivering is what we call characterization commons, which is really an ecosystem. It's not one thing, it's an ecosystem of computing services, systems, data and repositories, workflows, and services, all connected to instruments. The ACCS project has 3 specialized programs, and this webinar is presented to you by Work Package 4 of the project that is specialized in big data, electron, and correlative microscopy from instrument to publication. Now I would like to introduce our first speaker, who is Greg Darcy from AARNet, to give you an introduction to Globus. Greg is the research engagement strategist at AARNet. He is an experienced research analyst and program manager working across a number of product development projects and research collaborations at AARNet. Greg has over 20 years experience in the research and education sectors, working across several large-scale digital transformation and infrastructure initiatives. Hand over to Greg.
Thank you very much, Sarah, for that fantastic introduction. Just share my screen. Check you can see that. Yeah, all good. Thanks very much. All right, well, hello, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to talk to you today. Yeah, we're here to talk about Globus. I'm going to give you a brief update on how we're supporting Globus across the research sector and the education sector in Australia. And then I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Chris, who really get in the nuts and bolts and give us a demo. So what is Globus? I'm assuming most people know because, you know, they wouldn't be here otherwise. So basically, quite simply, Globus is a data movement management tool. These are some typical user stories that we find as we sort of do our consulting with different research groups and facilities. Quite simply, as research has got more computationally intensive, there's a greater need to be able to move data from the source of creation to compute to then some sort of storage, and also those storage options ranging from cloud storage now through the institution. So, in a nutshell, how do you get data from A to B? Globus moves data between endpoints. So from the destination to the source, this is all done, can be done via a GUI interface on the web or via the command line. Basically, the data does not move through the Globus platform. This is all done independently. What the Globus platform does is can schedule data transfers and create, has the capacity to create logs and that kind of thing to record data movement. Should also say that it streamlines the process of transferring data sets between instruments off to, as I said, compute environments or storage. It also handles identity management and some workflow automation. As I probably already hit on, some of the key features of Globus is that it can be accessed through a web browser or command line. Anyone within, or most researchers, I should say, within Australia can access Globus through their normal AAF login using their institutional credentials. And Chris might talk a little bit further about that. There's a little bit of tweaking to be done in terms of connecting to EduGain to make sure that you have access. One of the features that's attracted us mostly to Globus is the ability to create multiple endpoints across institutions. So I'll talk a little bit more about the Globus licenses that we're providing. Once an institution or facility has a license, they can set up and configure multiple endpoints for different storage options or instruments. Yeah, and I suppose the other point too, as well as the web browser and command line, Globus also supports API and Python software development kit for integration into data platforms and whatnot. So Globus, we've started our collaboration with Globus about 2 years ago. But Globus has been around quite a while. It's quite a mature platform. It's run by our colleagues at the University of Chicago. Currently, it's being used to transfer over a petabyte of data a day. As you can see from this infographic, there's 300,000 registered users across 80 countries at the moment, with 39,000 endpoints. Those endpoints can be configured for different storage options. So you'll see to the right of this infographic there, there's a number of different types of storage that Globus can be configured to connect. So Globus is coming up to a bit of a milestone. As you can see there, this is a ticker that I took a screenshot off their homepage. They're coming up now to nearly 2 exabytes of data having been transferred through the platform. I had to go up and have a bit of a look at Wikipedia just to get my head around exactly how big or what an exabyte was. So as you can see there, 1 exabyte is equal to 1,000 petabytes or 1 billion gigabytes. And that seems pretty exciting now. It's a bit of a testament to the success of the platform that they're just about to clock over to the 2 exabytes. So again, why Globus? Basically, assuming people know a little bit about AARNet and that we own and operate the research infrastructure across Australia in terms of high-speed internet. We've negotiated with Globus a whole of Australia research and educational license. We see this as a really valuable value add in that it's leveraging the network. Basically, moving data across the network is a key part of research now. So you know, we see the benefits of this straight away. We're working closely with a number of institutes to help configure and deploy Globus within their institution. Unlike sort of maybe a traditional cloud-based platform, if you think of Google, you can create an account, so you get a username and password and you're straight in and up and running. Globus takes a little bit, some software to be installed at the different host institution, and once that's in place, researchers are ready to get on with the task of research. So yeah, our goal here is to provide this as a highly connected, accessible way to utilize the infrastructure and data across Australia, but also connecting out with globally. We've got a strong collaboration with colleagues in New Zealand who have been using Globus as part of their national platform for, I think, about 10 years. So we're already working with some of the different facilities to transport data across the ditch. As part of our, I suppose, support for Globus, I think I've already spoke about how we see the value there and leveraging the AARNet network. We're tending to do a lot of kind of consulting work, either initially at setup, or Chris is very much in demand in giving advice on how to configure the Globus software to where it sits on institutions' network to get the greatest value out of it. We're also looking at rolling out further training, probably more end user training in terms of researchers, looking at how they can share their data using Globus. And yeah, we have a subscription pricing model where basically we're offering it at very reasonable prices, I might say, to different research institutions, and it's a tier-based model based on the amount of revenue. Just to wind up before I hand over to Chris, what we're finding now is we've sort of, Chris was pretty instrumental, not only in the ACCS project, but that as part of a pilot that we ran to get some institutions, work closely with a number of institutions to embed Globus and get that up and running. We've now moved into a production service, and I suppose what we're doing is having to work closely with research groups who are kind of looking at how they can embed Globus into their technically into their infrastructure and network, but also understanding ways that they may have to change or adapt to their business processes, if they all have to adapt, to be able to send their data out to the different researchers or customer facilities. So thank you. That's it for me. I'm going to hand over to Chris now.
Thanks, Greg. And just before handing it to Chris, I just wanted to mention that if anyone has any question, please type any questions in the Q&A section, and we're going to answer your questions at the end of the webinar. So our next speaker is Chris Myers, who is a data solutions specialist at AARNet. Chris has 28 years of experience working in the telecommunications and higher education sector, especially in large data projects. He supports a wide array of data movement projects in training, consultation, and design in the areas of astro, high energy physics, HPC, scientific instruments, archives and film, cloud solutions, data centers, fabrics, and cybersecurity. Chris is participating in the ACCS Work Package 4 and is lead of Work Package 4.3. Hand over to you, Chris. Thanks.
Hi all. So I'm going to do a quick demo of some of the aspects of the personal client and of the Connect server. And I'll just share my screen. Okay. So hopefully that's come through. Yep, cool. All right, so the Globus service, if you want to log into Globus, you just go to the main page here, click login, so globus.org, log in here. It'll bring you up to a login area. If your university is connected to the AAF, which most of them are, and has taken on the EduGain element, which is an extension on that for the Global Federation, then you'll find your university in here, and you'll be able to log in then with your university credentials. So it's a SSO solution. If not, you can log into Globus with Google, with your ORCID ID, or if you don't have any of those, you can also create a specific Globus ID here and log in with that. So I'm going to log in with my AARNet ID. Coming in now. And you'll see this is the main landing page you'll hit in, where you can have one panel, two panels, I normally go for 2 panels because that gives me to and fro where I'm sending things. So this is the file manager. In this, you can search for different types of collections. So you can say, I'd like to go to here. This will connect to, this is a server in Sydney. It'll connect up to that server in Sydney and show me the files that are available there. This is a read-only file mount. So in this, you could download files, and this is open to everyone to test to. So you can connect to this and test downloading files to and from your servers or to your personal clients in here. And on this side, you can when you first go in, you can download, you get an option to download a personal connect client, or you can just search for that in Google and download that file, and you'll be able to connect that in. So if I connect to this one, here's my personal connect, which is running on my current laptop that I'm talking to you from. And it's just double click to navigate through files and things like that. So in here, so say this was a data file that I was interested in getting from downloading, it's 100 meg, so I can click this. It's not on this side, it's on this side. So I can see here, in this top point in here, you have start, which will just kick it off.
Chris, sorry to interrupt you. We're just seeing your screen really like moving slowly. Maybe there is like a network problem, but can you please like slow down just
Yeah, sure.
a bit, just for the screen to pop up? Thank you.
You can do. So in this, you have different features that you can do. So you can create folders, rename folders, delete folders. You can download directories directly. So that's like a HTTP download. You can also upload files. You can get links. So you can create a link and send it to someone else, and they'll be able to connect to it and download it. Depending on how the endpoint's set up, they may need to auth or they may not need to auth. But yeah, that direct link can be quite useful. So if I click here, you can see you can create a URL path or access the file directly from that path there. So we'll show those in a minute. Also inside here, you have lots of transfer options. So sync. So like if you're familiar with doing rsyncs and things like that, basically the same options are in here. So you can say, I do diff sums if the file doesn't exist on the destination. Size is different, time is different. So you can select those. You can also delete the files on the destination. So you can delete files that aren't, so that the two directories stay synchronized. You can preserve the file's information. You can test for integrity. So this will do the MD5 checks on your files when you transfer to make sure there's no issues. Encryption, if you have a high assurance or HIPAA compliant version.
Sorry, Chris, I think there's still a bit of a delay. It seems to be a bit out of sync, what you're doing and what you're saying.
Okay.
Not really sure what I'm looking at right now, but if you just give it a sec, it might catch up.
So it should be just transfer settings and notification settings. No?
Not yet.
No.
No, I can see the 2 panels and a series of files on the left.
You're not seeing the pulled drop-down menu?
No,
No.
not yet.
Maybe it's worth stop sharing and then share your screen again. Maybe it just helps a little bit.
How about now?
No, I can't see your screen yet.
It hasn't popped up yet. Yeah, it seems like there is a delay.
Okay, now we can see the file manager.
Cool, and you can see the drop-downs.
Not yet.
Where it says sync, delete files, preserve source.
Okay, I think the timing seems okay right now.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so in this, you can encrypt the data on transfer. You can skip on errors, fail on quota errors. So if there's not enough space, you can also schedule the transfers. So if you're on a bad, say, link from home, like I am now, you can schedule your transfers to start at 1 a.m. all your synchronizations to be running overnight, so that way you don't interfere with your watching Netflix, is probably what my son's doing upstairs, which is killing my internet. So that's you have all those options available to you. So if I just go here and hit start the transfer, so it'll actually submit a job. If we go into activities, you can see the activity screen.
No.
Not quite.
Okay. Still not?
I can see something that says shareable links to access this collection. Okay, now the activities come up. Yep.
Yeah, so in here you can see so this is the activities running. Currently we're sending data from my personal laptop. We're downloading data from the server in Sydney to my personal laptop. It's basically getting ready to transfer the files now. Inside event log, it'll give you full details of what does or doesn't work, where it started, progressed, succeeded. It's moved one file so far. So I go back to the overview. So if I go back to the file manager, go back to here, go refresh. You can see that file's been transferred now. So I've got 100 meg file down from here to here. So some of the links are quite useful. So especially so the personal client that I'm using here is good for you to use on an instrument or within your lab environments, because then you can move data to and from your analysis machines. You could use this to move the data from your instrument to a larger storage collection area or to a HPC type solution for doing further processing. And with the synchronization and components like that, you could have this constantly updating from, say, like an output directory into a directory somewhere else for people to start collecting and working on their samples directly as they're running through. Heaps of other aspects of this with collections, how you can create collections, monitoring groups, flows is something you may be interested in moving forward to. Actually, you can step through a scientific workflow of transfers and then compute and use features like function X to actually drive job submission and then transferring the data back. So you can do multi-steps, you can split the transfers up. So that's quite an interesting tool for people to look at. And yeah, so the link elements here. So if I go look at the view this link, if I copy this link, we'll fire up into a different screen.
We're not quite with you yet, Chris. Hold on.
Yeah, it's just jumping in. So this collection will make me authenticate. So I'm just authenticating now. Doesn't matter whether you can see it or not. And then it just starts a general download of that file. So right now I'm downloading it as a HTTPS download. So that can be used for people who don't have Globus installed on their local machines at all. So anyone, no matter what, like the personal clients are free, and anyone can download them. But this is if you're on a computer that you can't modify, you can use this to download the data directly from through a web browser. And I'll probably pass it over to Sarah now, seeing I'm lagging so badly.
No worries. Yeah, just give a minute or so until we'll see if we can handle this delay. All right, if there is any questions, if you didn't quite see what was going on, or want Chris to repeat some part of that, if you've missed, please type that in Q&A.
Yeah, just reach out to me and I'm happy to do demos for anyone directly.
Yeah, but thank you, Chris. That was really good. So, Is there any questions from the participants? Or if you prefer to talk, you can raise your hand and I can let you talk. No? All right. It seems like we don't have any questions at the moment. Thank you very much. Is there anything else you want to add, Chris, Greg, or Sarah? No?
No, I can add that we are going to be putting together some basic training modules to help our users out, and like Chris said, particularly that end user, so the researcher. That's sort of my role. We'll be doing that, so if anyone wants to get in touch, I'm happy to have a chat about what your needs might be, and we can go from there.
Great, thank you. I can see that David has a hands up. And over to you, David.
Just a question for Chris. So given the slight issues you had in the lab or anything like that, are there any network monitoring tools embedded in Globus?
There's not tools as such. If you're the administrator of or managing the collections or the servers, you can actually see the performance everyone's getting moving data to and from the servers. As a facility, then there's things like a persona deployment you could do that we talked about in ACCS, and that'll give you baseline network performance monitoring n squared between all the sites, which is quite useful, especially for troubleshooting things. So persona, iPerf, ping, traceroute, all those things are good ways of testing the links. I'm just getting congestion on my NVM connection. That's what the problem is.
Okay, thanks.
We also have a question from Nicholas. Does the license available allow for personal endpoint to personal endpoint transfers? For example, instrument PC to a powerful workstation PC, but not the Globus node or collection.
Yes. So if you get the standard subscription coming out from AARNet, that's got what's called the Plus pack. And when you apply that to your personal Connect server, it allows you to share from your personal client to group share from that. So that turns on that feature. So that is limited to people that have a subscription. So the free client won't do sharing. The client with Plus, which is the base sort of stepping point into the subscriptions, that will give you sharing from the personal endpoint. So end sharing from everyone in the lab backwards and forwards.
Thank you, Chris. I don't see any more questions from the audience, so we may just wrap up. If there is anything else you want to mention, if not, we can wrap up this training. And thank you very much for attending this webinar. We really look forward to provide any further training, particularly in AARNet or any other upcoming trainings in ACCS project, and you're welcome to attend those. Thanks everyone, and have a great day, and thank you for our speakers for the great presentations. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.